Welcome to Her Money Revolution. I'm your host, Angela Brooks, your guide on this journey to becoming a wealthy woman. As a certified financial planner, owner, and advisor at Family Capital Management, I'm on a mission to simplify the conversation around investing and to help women generate more wealth by making their money work for them. Join me as we navigate powerful financial planning strategies to help you achieve your personal and professional goals. This podcast is your go-to destination for no fluff, easy to implement financial and investing advice. If you are ready to achieve audacious financial goals, dream beyond boundaries, and generate massive wealth for you and your family, this podcast is for you. Grab a notebook, let's get started. Hello and welcome to Her Money Revolution, the podcast where we empower women to grow their wealth by making their money work for them. I'm your host, Angela Brooks, and today we are diving into a topic that blends two of the most important aspects of life. It's love and money. With Valentine's Day just around the corner, many of us are thinking about our relationships, thinking about our loved ones and what truly matters in our lives. But there's one thing we might not always associate with love, and that is money. And the truth is, financial harmony is one of the most critical factors in building a strong, healthy relationship. Money can bring us closer to our partners, but it can also create so much tension and so much conflict when it's not handled well. And in fact, there's so many studies that have shown that disagreements about money, one of the leading causes of relationship stress and even divorce. But it doesn't have to be that way. And in today's episode, we're going to explore how you and your partner can build financial harmony together. I'm going to help you turn potential conflicts into opportunities for deeper connection and shared growth. Whether you're newly dating, you're married for decades, or somewhere in between, this conversation is truly for you. We're going to talk about the importance of open and honest communication about money. We're going to talk about how to set financial goals as a team, whether you're saving for a dream vacation or you're paying off debt, investing for your future retirement. We're going to talk through some tips for creating the value spending plan that works for both of you, how to handle disagreements in a way that strengthens your relationship instead of breaking it down. So many times couples fight about money or other things, but when we have those disagreements, that fighting style makes everything worse. So I'm going to talk through some of those ways that we can better handle those disagreements. We're going to cover 6 common financial issues that stress married couples and then 7 steps to achieving financial harmony if you're married. So grab a cup of coffee, take a deep breath. Let's dive in. Just like love, managing money in a relationship takes intention, communication, and a little bit of patience. But let me tell you, when you get it right, the rewards are absolutely worth it. So why does money matter in love? Because money matters so much in relationships. As a wealth advisor, I get a front row seat to see couples who get it right and couples who get it oh so wrong. I know that this isn't the most romantic topic to discuss over candlelight, but hear me out. Financial harmony is about so much more than just numbers or dollars in your bank account. It's about trust, partnership, and it's about building a life together. According to the Bible, money matters in marriage because it is a reflection of unity and shared responsibility between spouses. As couples are so called to be one flesh and manage finances together, with both partners being good stewards of God's provisions, essentially, financial transparency and shared decision-making are crucial for healthy marriage. And disagreements over money can lead to significant conflict and strain the relationship. The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And if he can break that unity, he can hurt your marriage. And so we want to maintain healthy conversations around money matters. When you and your partner are on the same page financially, it creates a foundation for the future, a healthy, solid foundation, one with a shared vision of what you both want to achieve. But when money is a source of tension, it can feel like there's this massive wedge between the two of you. Even if your love is really strong, but there was money conflict, it creates tension. That's why it's so important to have these conversations and make a plan together to maintain or build that unity in your relationship. I've worked with couples who had completely different approaches to money. One was a spender, the other a saver, and they thought they would never see eye to eye. Every time I met with them, the biggest argument was he spends too much and she doesn't ever want to spend a penny. But with the right tools and the right mindset and working with me, they not only found a common ground, but also grew so much closer as a result. And oftentimes, if you've been married for a while, you know that when you go through some really challenging times, when you come out on the other side, your marriage can be so healthy and so strong. And I want to see that for you. If one of the arguments that you have is around money, I want you guys to work together and get on the same playing field and get a plan in place. So before we dive into the 7 steps to achieving financial harmony, let's talk about some common financial challenges that couples face. According to Fidelity's 2024 Couples and Money Study, 45% of partners argue about money at least occasionally, and 25% of couples identify money as their greatest relationship challenge. Here are the 6 common financial issues that stress married couples. There's lots of them. Here are 6 common financial issues that stress married couples. Lack of communication around your finances, separating your finances, power plays, carrying old debts, personality differences, and coping with extended family. Let's talk through challenge number 1, lack of communication about finances. When we talk about money, it can be one of the most difficult conversations for couples, even in the healthiest relationships. Oftentimes, depending on the generation that you were brought up in, money talked about in your home or not. Oftentimes, the origin of your relationship with money is how you will respond and react in your marriage. Many people grow up with the idea that discussing finances is rude or it's embarrassing, and even maybe it's just not appropriate to talk about money, which can make it a very taboo topic in marriage. However, avoiding these conversations, especially when financial issues arise, can lead to misunderstandings, can lead to resentment, and significantly heighten the stress levels in your relationship. There are numerous studies that highlight the critical role communication plays in financial harmony. A study by SunTrust Bank found that finances are the leading cause of stress in marriages, outranking issues like intimacy or parenting. According to American Psychological Association, financial stress often escalates when couples avoid discussing money, leading to unresolved tensions and feelings of insecurity about their future. There's such a breakdown in communication because money is deeply tied to our values, emotions, and sometimes our sense of identity. And for many couples, financial discussions can feel a judgment on their choices, on their habits, or their self-worth. Part of my process in designing a financial plan for my clients is I ask a string of questions about their relationship with money, their financial upbringing, their long-term goals and dreams. I even ask them sometimes, if money were not a factor, what would you want out of your life? It's amazing how often I hear one spouse respond with shock or surprise, saying something like, I had no idea that you felt that way. I had one couple, he was explaining all his goals and dreams or long-term plans that he wanted. And she was like, that is news to me. When did you start thinking that way? Sometimes I've even heard we've never talked about this before, and we really need to sit down at home and discuss it. I had couples arguing and debating in front of me in my office because they just haven't talked about. And these moments really reveal just how much couples can learn about each other when they take the time to talk about money openly, judgment-free. Challenge number 2, separating finances. One common financial challenge couples face is deciding how to handle their earnings, whether to combine everything into shared accounts or keep things separate. Earning separate might seem like a real simple solution for avoiding financial conflict. I'm here to tell you it actually creates its own set of challenges. For one, it leads to a sense of inequality, especially if one partner earns significantly more than the other. The lower earning partner could feel like they have less influence or say in financial decisions, which oftentimes is the female, is the wife, which then could eventually lead to resentment. Recently, over the holidays, I had a conversation with a friend, and it really hit home with me. She's been married for 25 years, has a few kids. She works part-time. She earns a modest income. Her husband's a super great guy. He's never been mean or controlling. He actually encourages her to spend money and go travel and buy the things that she wants and really enjoy life. And I've heard this as well. He also makes sometimes some passive aggressive jokes. Like he said, I'll take care of us now, since I'm working to make more money and you can work in retirement. He was joking, but she kind of was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But over those little comments, I can't imagine over those years, they've added up for her. At one point, her and I were going for a walk and we started talking about some things, and we're talking about 2025 and setting some goals and, what are we excited for? And she started to tell me how much she feels lost. Like she doesn't even know who she is anymore. When it comes to money, she feels like she doesn't have the right to an opinion. I was really surprised when she was telling me some of these things, and she lets her husband make the decisions. She lets her husband decide what they spend, where they spend it, where they eat, what they do, because he earns more money. Even simple things like going to the movie or not. It's like, well, do you want to go? And she's like, well, and he didn't. So she's like, no, it's okay. Why? Well, because they're going to spend money. She doesn't make as much as he does. So she therefore then decides to not do something that she might otherwise want to do. It was really sad for me. It hit home. It really hurt my heart. And as we were talking, I asked her, I said, how much money do you think that you need to earn to feel like you have the right to speak up? What is the salary requirement for having a voice in your own home? And she just looked at me. She stared at me stunned. And she's like, I've really never thought about it that way. We just sat there for a minute and then we're just walking. She's like, I've never thought about it that way. And it sounds really horrible when you put it that way because I don't think that's right. But it was just years of that insecurity about not making enough money, feeling like finances needed to be separate because her husband made more. You guys, this, my friends, is far more common than we may think. I have girlfriends that have money secretly held away because they don't want their husband to know that they have a secret stash, and because their finances are so separate. And money touches every part of our lives. What we eat, what we watch, where we go, you can't get away from it, right? When one partner feels they have less of a say because they earn less, it will quietly chip away at their confidence and their self-worth over time, as it has with my friend that I was talking with over the holiday. It's not about how much money you make. It's about recognizing your worth and your role in the financial decisions of your relationship. Now, on the flip side, the higher earning partner might feel burdened by paying for all of the expenses. Even if they're okay with it initially, it could start to build some resentment if they are supposed to provide for their family and their kids. Another issue with separating earnings is that it fosters a lack of transparency. Like I was saying, my girlfriends, they don't want their husbands to know they've got some money held aside because she doesn't make as much as he does. When money is kept separate, there's a higher risk of financial secrets, financial infidelity, hidden debt, or overspending. Eventually will erode trust. So without clear communication about how much each partner is managing their individual finances, it's easy for misunderstandings to slowly begin to creep your relationship. Lastly, having separate finances makes long-term financial planning way more difficult. It's really hard, actually, as a wealth advisor. Okay, here's a plan for you, just her. Here's a plan for him. And then, but if you're married and you're combined, let's combine these. So when you're not fully aligned on how to manage your resources as a team, as a partnership, as a unity in marriage, it becomes harder to work towards those same shared goals, like saving for a home or buying a boat, funding children's education, or planning for retirement. In a previous relationship, everything was 50-50, right? Like separate finances. We'd go to the grocery store and the bill would be $50 and I'd have to pay him $25.04. It was to the penny separate. And it really started investing in my head. I'm like, why am I even buying? I don't eat tomatoes. Why am I paying for half those tomatoes? You're a dude. You eat way more than I do. It was just so toxic. So I really don't encourage separating your finances. As being married for 12 years, having 3 babies, we go to the grocery store and we buy diapers. It's really hard to think like, well, who's going to pay for that? Well, whose paycheck is this coming out of? Well, separating earnings might work for some couples. And I'd say only those that are maybe on second marriage with grown children and who are financially stable and independent already. It's not usually ideal for younger couples just starting out, or those in their 30s or 40s that are raising kids. I haven't seen it. No, everybody, and maybe it does work for some, but I can't see the benefit of doing it that way. Even for financially fit couples, keeping finances separate requires an extra effort to ensure that it doesn't create division in other areas of your relationship. Even if it does work for you, the husband wants to go on a vacation and maybe she's like, I do, but I can't afford it. Oh, okay, let me go ahead and pay for you to go. That's not how God designed marriage to be, or how God designed us to be one flesh and manage our finances together. So for most couples, especially those building a life together, sharing financial responsibilities and aligning on goals fosters trust, it fosters transparency and teamwork. That's why finding a system that works for both of you and committing to it, open, honest communication around your finances, is essential for building financial harmony. Challenge number 3, power plays. Power plays can arise in a relationship when there's an imbalance in financial contribution or access. In access, I mean maybe one spouse comes from wealth. These dynamics often surface in one of 4 different scenarios, in my experience of what I've seen. When one partner has a paid job while the other doesn't, one spouse earns significantly more than the other. 3, one partner comes from a wealthy family while the other does not. And the other scenario that I see often is when there's an unequal ownership of assets that were brought into the relationship. So maybe you received an inheritance when you were 18 that your spouse had access to. When one or more of these situations exist, the partner who controls the most money may feel entitled to dictate the couple's spending priorities. It's called control. This can clearly create a lot of tension, sometimes resentment, and I would imagine a sense of inequity. The lower earning partner could feel silenced, undervalued. And I'm just saying she because the statistics, but even she'd hesitate to voice her own opinions about financial decisions. It wasn't a power play, but it's still those same feelings, the unworthiness. So the point I'm trying to make is that when one partner may feel like they don't have a voice because of their lower income, who cares? That just makes me really sad when people put so much worth, how much money you make. It shouldn't matter. In a healthy relationship, you should be a partnership. You should work together. In the case of power plays, it's less about the self-perception and more about one partner directly asserting control over the financial decisions. A classic power play example, if the higher earning partner makes a significant financial decision, coming home one day with a brand new car without discussing it beforehand. Gosh, I'd be so upset if John pulls in the driveway and he's got a brand new vehicle. It leaves that other partner feeling excluded, unheard, and powerless, as if their input doesn't matter when it comes to major financial decisions. Over time, this imbalance will erode trust. It's going to create resentment, maybe even undermines the sense of partnership in the relationship. So I understand that the tricky part is that power plays don't always come from a place of overt control. Sometimes it's just truly an unconscious habit or societal norms or expectations that suggest that that person with more financial resources should naturally have more influence. And maybe for some relationships, that's okay. But at some point, left unchecked, they can harm even the strongest relationships. Challenge number 4, carrying old debts. Another common challenge that couples face is dealing with old debts, whether it's a student loan, credit card balances, past financial decisions, that one partner bringing it into the relationship may feel insecure or nervous about that old debt that they are bringing into the relationship. These old debts can create tension or feelings of inequity, especially if they weren't openly discussed before combining your finances. So John and I do premarital counseling, and what we always tell these young couples before they get married, before you say I do, take a look at the IOUs. Open up your finances, but eventually as you get closer to talking about engagement or you're wanting to get married, you should open up your books and be, okay, here's all of my debt, all of my income, here's everything. I once worked with a couple, let's call them Mike and Sarah. They had been married for 5 years, and Sarah came into the marriage with about $40,000 in student loans, while Mike had none. He also didn't have a college degree, which is okay. But at first, they were treating this debt, that $40,000, as her debt. Mike didn't think much about it. He's like, okay, whatever, she'll take care of that. She was really embarrassed and insecure that she had so much debt. She also had a college degree and working towards a master's degree, which was awesome. But nevertheless, they started saving for a home and they're planning for children. And then Mike, over time, it wasn't right away, but over a couple years meeting with them, Mike started to feel really frustrated that their joint savings were being held back by Sarah's loan payments. And then Sarah, on the other hand, felt really guilty and defensive, saying like, shoot, I don't even use this degree anymore, or maybe I should have gone a different way. She kind of does. She was just starting to feel really guilty and embarrassed that she has so much debt. But the real issue wasn't the debt itself. It was the lack of a clear plan and the lack of shared understanding on how they would tackle it together. You're married. You become one. Your debt is my debt. Once we sat down together, we talked through it a handful of times, but I think a couple of years it started to really bother them. So it was like, we need to make a decision. And we decided to approach the debt as a team. They created a plan, which included taking 20 grand out of Mike's savings account, which, by the way, was not invested, wasn't earning any kind of interest, sitting in a Lake Michigan Credit Union savings account. I'm sorry, you need to deploy that 20 grand to get out of that $40,000 worth of debt that is now yours as well. And not that he wouldn't, it just was not how they together thought they should handle it. After working with them, they had a plan to aggressively pay it off while still working toward this financial goals together. So more importantly, they began communicating openly about how that debt impacted both of them, which improved their connection and their trust, made their relationship stronger. And this is one of so many stories about when one spouse brings debt into the relationship. It's my own story. When John and I were dating, we opened up our finances to each other right away. Now, we were a little bit older when we were dating. I was 28 when I started dating John. So things were a little bit different. We were both really financially independent and doing really well for ourselves. When we sat together, we opened up our finances. It was kind of funny. I think I must have used, and him too, like an Excel spreadsheet, like one of those templates, budget templates, because it was almost identical. The colors were different, But I sat down at his kitchen table and I brought my laptop and I'm looking at his and I'm like, wait, that's my budget. And he's like, no, this is mine. It was so crazy. I mean, it was so similar, which really kind of makes this conversation for he and I easier because it's something that we were both really already on track for and aligned with. Before I tell you the next point, one thing that is a really important detail here is that I am 5 years younger than John. So it's an important detail because at that time, I was still carrying a lot of student debt in the double digits. I had a great payment plan. I was already working on it and I was slowly tackling it. But for whatever reason, I still felt that shame, that pay it off. I felt irresponsible. I had a degree. Thankfully, John is absolutely incredible. And when we started talking through this, like without hesitation, he transferred what was in his savings account to me and we paid it off. And for him, it was such a no-brainer, something he just did, like check, done, off of his to-do list. Yep, we tackled that. And I just remember sitting there feeling like we did it at that kitchen table right then and there. I'm still sometimes thinking about it. It just makes me like, oh, my husband's so amazing. But I thought this guy truly loves me. And that feeling was so anchored, so much love in our marriage is amazing. And it works because it was just, we're committed and we're on the same path and we've got the same goals. And it just is so healthy. And not to mention, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's got money. It wasn't just about the money. It was the act of teamwork and trust that set such a solid foundation for our relationship. It showed me that he was so into me and so focused on our future together as a team, not just like two individuals trying to manage our own life. So I encourage young couples that have been married for years, talk through any kind of old debts that you still might be carrying into the relationship. It's not uncommon. Oftentimes you have that you bring into relationships, but how you handle it as a couple is what matters. Treating debt as a shared challenge rather than an individual burden will create a sense of partnership. It just fosters a healthy foundation. And the key, you guys, is to acknowledge it. Don't pretend like it's not there. Put your head in the sand and act like, it's my student loan. I'll take care of it at one point. Make a plan. Make sure that both partners feel heard and are involved in the solution to tackling that debt. After all, financial harmony is about building your future together, not getting stuck in the past. Are you tired of feeling like your finances are controlling you instead of the other way around? What if I told you that there is a way to align your spending with your core values so every dollar you spend actually brings you closer to the life that you truly want? Well, I want to share with you a tool that has helped me and a ton of my clients understand where their money is going and gives them more money to invest for their future. And that is the value spending plan. I have been using this tool for over 10 years, and it has been so impactful in my life, and I want to give you this tool to use in yours. Download a free copy of the value spending plan and start taking control of your finances today. Head over to hermoneyrevolution.com/resources to download a free copy today. Again, that's hermoneyrevolution.com/resources to download your free copy of the value spending plan. Challenge number 5, personality differences. Even if both partners are debt-free, personality differences around money can still create challenges in relationships. The classic dynamic that I'm talking about is the spender versus the saver. Shows up in so many relationships, and again, including mine. I am another perfect example of this. John and I are a perfect example. So he is the spender, and I'm the saver. And to top it off, I'm a financial advisor as well. So you can imagine the conversations that we have had over the years. Some not so easy conversations. I remember early in our marriage, we're planning a vacation, and I was so focused on finding the best deals and staying within our budget, while John was so focused on planning some fun things to do, reserving fancy dinners, coordinating extra excursions, maybe even a few upgrades. And as he's doing this, I could feel my tension. I could feel the stress. We don't need to do all of that. In my effort to save money, I booked us a timeshare deal at Hilton. You guys, has anybody done that before? We're the ones where you sit through that 90-minute presentation somehow turns into 4 hours, and they try to sell you this ridiculously overpriced package. I'll never forget John's face. He went, we obviously were there together and it was a great vacation, but I can never forget his face when that was the third or fourth salesperson that we're sitting with revealed the price. Oh my goodness, it was a classic Papa Jim Brooks moment. John sat there, his mouth open, his big round eyes as wide as saucers. He had no expression on his face. He didn't say anything. He just sat there with a blank stare. If you know him, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Finally, after a few minutes, I'm nudging him with my elbow to snap out of it. And he finally shook his head. But you guys, he didn't say anything. He stood up and he walked out. He didn't say a word. He literally stood up and walked out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to wrap it up with a salesperson. That was the end of that. And I was a little bit upset. Here, we're going to have fun. We're saving money. We don't have to go to fancy dinners. And finally, later that day, when we talked about it, he was really quite stubborn. He stood his ground and he said, Angela, we're on vacation and we will enjoy it. And the whole time I'm okay, all I could think was sure, but does enjoying it mean spending the entire budget in one weekend? And for me, no, so it wasn't. In the beginning of our marriage, sometimes it was a little hard to work through some of those things, but we have and we did. And at first, our different approaches caused tension. And I felt like I was always having to put on the brakes, we don't need to buy 3 of these, just buy 1. Well, John felt like I wasn't letting us fully enjoy life. He is an experience creator and he's keeping us small. Stop. There was some challenging times, but with the consistent, intentional work in this area for he and I, we found mutual ground. Now he just plans all the vacations. I'm kind of kidding, but he actually does. He travels, so he gets points, and it looks a lot different than it did when we first married. But even so, when we sit down, we're okay, what trips do we want to take? What is it going to cost us? And we allocate money, some fun money that's guilt-free for him to enjoy while we're on vacation. And then while we're still sticking to an overall plan, because we're talking through it, it makes the saver in me feel really happy and confident and okay, this is great. We also fly on points and Marriott, but timeshare really, we also review our cash flow plan together every month. It's essential. Truly, that is an essential step to making sure that your spending is aligned with your long-term goals and priorities as a couple. So what we learned is that personality differences don't have to cause conflict. Me being the saver and John being the spender, we can find common ground. In fact, we can use them to complement each other when managed well. So for John, he helps me loosen up and enjoy life more and go buy the thing. My family calls him premium because he's all about the upgrade experience. We took a family trip to Mexico, and it was my sister and my brother and all the extended family. When we got there, this guy comes up, I forget the name of the hotel, but this guy comes up with a clipboard and he's like, John and Angela Brooks, please. And we went over to the side and we got the upgrade and we had a premium package and it was oh my goodness. So for me, I help John stay grounded. I help him stay focused on the bigger financial goals. I manage the investments. Make sure if we want to take that vacation, you want to have that premium upgrade. Are we maxing out our 401ks? Are we maxing out our backdoor Roths? There's different things that we need to accomplish first, and we talk about them, and we're on the same page. So again, the key is open communication and mutual respect and acknowledging your differences that can complement each other. And then once you acknowledge them, figuring out how to balance them as a team, as one unit. Challenge number 6, coping with extended family. Another common financial challenge in relationships is dealing with the financial needs of extended family. Whether it's his parents needing a new car or her sister struggling to make rent. These situations can quickly create tension. One partner may feel obligated to step in and write a check or send Venmo, but while the other, wonders like, why the heck are we spending money this way? That money isn't being used to address our needs at home or fund a shared goal that we have that we've talked about every month on our value spending plan, like a family vacation, for example, or saving for your retirement. This challenge often becomes more intense when it's a serious crisis arises, like a parent's illness or major storm damage to a loved one's home, like all these fires in California, an unexpected event or death in the family. The pressure that one could carry to help the other can feel so overwhelming. And if both partners aren't on the same page on how to handle those things, it could lead to resentment and conflict, even like conflicting priorities that maybe you were aligned and this was a priority, but now this event happened and my priority has shifted. But maybe for the spouse, they didn't shift. What makes this issue so tricky is that it's often deeply emotional. Helping your family feels like the right thing to do, but it can come at a cost of your own financial stability or maybe achieving your own financial goals. When you and your partner are not aligned, that's hard. It's tricky. One partner may feel really guilty for not helping a family member, while the other one might feel really frustrated. Again, that their resources, their hard-earned money is being diverted from their shared plans. For instance, one partner might say, my priority is making sure my sister has a safe place to live before we spend 5 days on vacation. You can imagine where that could go, right? My sister doesn't have a place to live, and yet you're so arrogant we think that we could just go on a 5-day vacation. Meanwhile, the other one, the spouse might be thinking like, well, your sister has a history of making the stupidest financial choices, can't keep a job, and she's not responsible. So why is that now our responsibility? So there's no right or wrong. It's hard. You can imagine the different paths that disagreement could take you. So what do we do? As you can see, navigating money in relationships isn't just about numbers. It's about emotions, values. It's about the unity in marriage, teamwork, whether it's communicating judgment-free about money or handling differences in your income or managing old debts that were brought into the relationship, balancing that spender versus saver dynamics, addressing any power plays that might be happening in the relationship, or the last challenge, dealing with the financial needs or expectations of extended family members. These challenges are real and they can test even the strongest marriages. But here's the good news. These challenges do not have to define your relationship. With intentional effort, with the right strategies, I've seen it. I'm one of them. Couples overcome these obstacles by achieving financial harmony when they get on the same page. And guys, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about working together towards shared goals and the openness and the understanding that sometimes those goals may shift. So whether you're married, whether you're engaged or in your committed relationship, these insights apply. Even if you're single and you're like, okay, this episode wasn't for me. Well, no, let me just tell you, these steps are valuable tools for you as well to build a solid financial foundation for yourself and then bringing it into your relationship, because a good financial habits, guess what? They start with you. You want to be a healthy, financially fit person going into a marriage. So if you're single, stay listening, because I'm going to go through 7 steps to achieving financial harmony in marriage that can help you address all of these challenges that we just covered. Number 1, open the books. Transparency. Start by being completely open about your finances. Share your income, share your debts, talk about your spending habits. Know thyself, by the way. If you have spending habits, know thyself. Share your financial goals together. Transparency builds trust, ensures that both partners feel included, no matter who earns more or has past financial baggage. This step directly tackles challenges like old debts or any power plays that might be going on, any personality differences by creating a clear picture of your financial situation. So open the books. Number 2, create a joint vision. It's important to have shared goals. So I want you guys to sit down together, or if you're single, by yourself, that's fine. Define what financial success looks like for you and for your relationship. Do you want to buy a home? Do you want to save for retirement? Do you want to travel more? Aligning your shared goals helps you prioritize spending. It reduces conflict, especially when managing those personality differences or extended family pressures, right? You need to have shared vision. Quick example with that. Ever since John was a little boy, he always wanted a big water boat and one that he could sleep on and bring his family on. And I never wanted that. My parents live 8 minutes away. They have 2 boats. It's easy access. They are amazing. Like, take it whenever, not a problem. So I never wanted a boat, but he did. And long story short, we came into some money and he said, I want to buy a boat. I'm using this money when it comes in to buy the boat of my dreams. And I never thought, I knew eventually it was going to be a reality for us. But when that started happening, I was like, oh, okay, well, let me put that boat, you have a vision board. I'm like, send me a picture of the boat that you want and I will put it on my vision board. Him and my son, Nico, they, for years, Saturday morning, they're on Boat World, I think, whatever the app is. I don't know, a couple different apps, like shopping for boats. So we knew exactly, or John knew exactly what kind of boat he wanted, but it wasn't a shared vision. It wasn't a shared goal for many, many years until it became, okay, we're going to come into some money. What do we do? So if I didn't agree with him, if I didn't get on the same page with him, if I didn't join him in this vision, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars that you spend managing or owning a boat and all of the things that go with it. That could have created a huge tension in our marriage. I'm a wealth advisor. Like, buying a boat's the worst investment one can make, but not me and my family. Actually, it's been the best investment. We say boat, Brooks is out adventuring together. It has been the best experience for my family and my kids. My little buddies, they're all first mate, but my oldest is fighting me well, he's not. I would happily give him that title as first mate because it's a lot of work. But anyway, my point is that we sat down, we prayed about it, we fasted over it. We made sure, is this a decision that's going to keep our family together, or is it going to divide us? And we got on the same page. We had a shared goal and we went after it. And we bought a boat. We love it. Okay, number 3, set boundaries. You need to protect your partnership by setting boundaries, agreeing on how to handle external requests, like helping extended family. You need to decide on spending limits that require mutual approval. For example, setting boundaries ensures that both partners, you and your spouse, feel respected. It's going to avoid any kind of resentment that might build up when tough decisions arise. So, like, if you have an extended family member that continues to call you for rent or borrowing money, hey, I'm sorry, I just need to borrow money again. Having boundaries that says, my husband and I have agreed that we can no longer lend you money. End of conversation. It's not my choice. It's my husband and I's choice. Having those boundaries. And I know, you guys, it can be so hard. It's your family. It's your blood, right? So if this is something that you are struggling with, if you have someone in your family, extended family, that is really pulling on you for some of your finances and it's really putting some tension between you and your spouse, I really encourage you to get professional help. Have an expert come in and help you, guide you through these conversations with your spouse and with that family member even. Number 4, establish a value spending plan. You need to have unity. You need to have a cash flow plan. You need teamwork. So go to hermoneyrevolution.com and download my value spending plan. It's a great time, late January. Get in there and start working through your value spending plan. Understand where every dollar is going, where you choose where to spend your money. And then you want to review your cash flow together every month, every week if you have to start. Initially it might take more, but to make sure that your spending aligns with your goals and that it aligns with your values. If we're out with my kids, I'm like, can we buy that? Or I say, no, I can't afford it. Well, it's not aligned with our values. So the answer is going to be no. If we're saving for something that's part of our longer term goals. By choosing where you spend money together, you address any potential power plays. If your husband comes home with a vehicle, well, he wouldn't, hopefully. If you're having these monthly, weekly conversations about where you're spending your money, it's going to help ensure fairness. It's going to help balance that spender-saver dynamic. It's not about restricting each other, but it's about creating a system that works for both of you, where you both feel empowered and excited about spending money or saving money or whatever goal it might be. Okay, number 5, communicate on a regular basis. You need to stay connected. So I just said, meet monthly, weekly, whatever it takes. Make that a priority. Make financial check-ins on a regular basis. Make it a habit. You want to use this time. So we meet the second Thursday of the month. And during that time, we talk about our plan. We make adjustments if necessary. Celebrate the wins. Talk about any challenges that have come up since last time that you communicated. Communication is the key to handling all financial challenges because it keeps both partners engaged, informed, and it keeps both partners working together as a team. So, and like I said earlier, it's equally important to the principle of know thyself. You got to be honest about your own relationship with money. Recognize the habits or the triggers that you are bringing and the money strengths that you have. If you find yourself struggling in certain areas, don't hesitate to get extra help, whether it's through a financial advisor like myself or resources like Her Money Revolution. Continue to have an open conversation with yourself and with your partner on a regular basis. Number 6, role clarity. Clearly defining financial roles within the relationship can make managing money more efficient and reduce misunderstandings. Assign specific responsibilities for tasks like paying bills or managing the investments or tracking savings or monitoring the value spending plan or transferring money over to the vacation fund. For example, one partner might handle the day-to-day expenses and bill payments, while the other focuses on the long-term savings and retirement planning and investment planning. But it's both partners meet with that financial advisor. Both partners come together and they may not be the key decision maker, but be a part of those conversations and the decision-making process. It's not about dividing control. It's about leveraging each person's strengths and to work as a team. So I understand the investments a lot better than my husband. So that's my strength. By establishing role clarity and maintaining consistent communication about them, you can avoid the common pitfalls that we went over, like missing payments or unbalanced workloads, maybe, or one partner feeling left out of the financial decision-making process. It's a so simple yet powerful way to really stay organized and unified in your marriage. So number 6, role clarity. Number 7, last but not least, is navigating disagreements. Money disagreements are inevitable. They happen in even the strongest relationships, and how you handle them will make all the difference in your relationship. So when conflicts arise, focus on resolving them in a way that is going to strengthen your connection rather than causing damage. My husband and I were just listening to a marriage devotional that we're doing, and they talked about arguing. And rather than looking face to face when you're fighting, yelling at each other face to face, getting nose to nose, stand shoulder to shoulder because you're a team. You're not fighting each other. You're fighting the enemy. You're fighting something that's coming to kill, steal, and destroy. So you want to be unified in that fight. So it was really great, actually. So whenever you have these conversations, both of you look in the same direction, shoulder to shoulder, when you have those disagreements. Fight that battle together, not at each other. but I took that from my devotion. The other point when navigating these disagreements is start by active listening. Give each partner space to express their concerns without interruptions or without judgments. Then identify the underlying issue. Oftentimes, money conflicts are less about the dollars and more about the differing values or the fears or different priorities. Another critical thing to think through is timing of when you're going to have these conversations. Timing plays a critical role when navigating money disagreements effectively. So, for example, avoid bringing up a missed bill the moment your husband walks through the door after a long, hard day. Or husband, don't call your wife to question why this credit card charge just showed up at Target. What are you buying? Are you one of those people that get notifications anytime a credit card? I have clients. He does this and it's horrible. It's power, it's control. But that's not healthy. So instead, consider the context. This might be bothering me. Like, what is she spending at Target, all the time? Or why did he not pay this bill? Okay, but consider is he hungry? Is she exhausted? Before you start just addressing financial concerns at the wrong time, because if it's not a good time, it can quickly escalate a minor issue into a full-blown disagreement, argument, slamming of doors, and not, extremely unhealthy. So to foster constructive, life-giving conversations, find moments when both of you are calm, when both of you are rested, and both of you are willing to have that open discussion. Better yet, consider scheduling those money dates that I say, weekly or monthly, to tackle these financial topics proactively. Having that designated time to review your finances, it's going to help you ensure that money talks are intentional, not reactive. It's going to keep those discussions productive and beneficial. So if something does come up and I'm like, what's going on here? I don't just randomly tell my husband. I'll put it aside and I'll talk about it on the 15th when we talk through money. Also, compromise is key. So you want to find a middle ground where both partners feel heard, respected. So for example, if one of you wants to save aggressively while the other wants to enjoy discretionary spending, agree on a balance that satisfies both goals. Finally, don't hesitate to seek professional advice. If you find yourself stuck, call a financial advisor, a marriage counselor, a therapist, a mediator, someone that can provide tools and insights to help you navigate these disagreements in a productive, healthy way to help you stay on track towards your goals. By approaching your money conflicts as a team, shoulder to shoulder, you can turn disagreements into opportunities for growth and understanding. Navigating money in marriage is no small task, but it's one of the most impactful things you can do to strengthen your marriage and to strengthen your partnership. The challenges that we've discussed, lack of communication, separating earnings, carrying old debts into the relationship, personality differences, power plays, and coping with extended family members are common, but they do not have to define your relationship. Start fresh in 2025. The 7 steps that we've covered today are going to help you be transparent, share goals, set boundaries, manage your cash flow together, communicate on a regular basis, understand the role clarity that you play around your finances, and navigate disagreements shoulder to shoulder. This is a roadmap to achieving financial harmony in your marriage. And remember, you guys, it's not about perfection. It's about progress, building trust, staying aligned, and creating a life together that reflects both of your dreams and your values and what God is calling you guys to do. So take these steps, start the conversation, and build the foundation for a stronger relationship, one where money brings you together, not apart. Thanks for joining me today in Her Money Revolution. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe, share, leave a review. And as always, I love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear some of your questions. Feel free to reach out and let me know how you're working towards financial harmony in your relationship. Until next time, remember, financial empowerment starts with you. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you are feeling more empowered in your financial journey. Remember, follow and subscribe to Her Money Revolution on your favorite podcast platform, and share your feedback by leaving a review. I'd love to hear your biggest takeaway from today's episode. Until next time, stay inspired.